sitting on the floor, on the sand, on the cold floor. How are we going to change things like this and give children the kind of atmosphere that will support learning?
Actually, okay, is it directed to
No, well, it's going to go around.
You can go ahead.
Let's start with you.
Yes.
Ladies
Actually,
first.
This is very, very important. This is why we have this Oyo State Trust Fund. We are going to try and put a lot of things right. People sitting on the floor will not be there again. Once we have money.
Amen to that.
Amen. Because what we are particular about is how to raise money to do all these things. And we know that the standard of schools, the standard has fallen, and we have to put this right. And I'm impressed with the idea of the governor setting up this trust fund, and I promise that I will do my best. In fact, I'm a member of the trustee of PZ Foundation. They do a lot of CSR. They have refurnished some schools in Ikorodu and in some Oshobo. I've gone to visit them. So with the little experience I have with that, I want to use my experience and professional capabilities into it. I have had a touch of both government and private sector. And this is why I take this as a challenge. And once we have money, you'll be hearing from us.
Chief Akonde, someone just tweeted something on the light note, says, well, you're a professional, so we should send you receipts for advertising.
Please, let's put things in the right perspective. You made a statement that Queen's School there was good because they were expatriate teachers. And then when they left, went to a rot. It's unfair to say that.
Okay.
I was a teacher at King's College from 1963. Some of my students are professors today. The famous gynecologist was my student. So let me say this. Let us look at Nigeria, those of you who are young enough to know. Prior to 1966, every school in every region is competing with the other school from the other region. You never heard, quote me, exam malpractice.
True.
Do you understand? It's when government abandon their responsibility to education, to school. They don't know what a school is. Anybody who's been through a school thinks he's an expert in education. It's wrong. Prior to 1965, go check records of all public exams in this country, in all schools, prior to 1966. Look at their results. Children compete to come out in grade 1. The grade, not whether I'll pass or not, is taken for granted. Who were those teachers? Yes. Most of them are Nigerians.
Or would you rather say most of us?
Most of us were Nigerians. In King's College, there are 1 or 2 expatriate women married to Nigerians, and some 1 or 2 expatriate. Gradually, they phased out. What has happened to this country? The military intervention in this country, let us not be shy of saying this, destroyed the country. Plus the Civil War, which made government and sudden oil boom. We think that we have so much money, we can do anything. We took over schools.
But Mr. Okoro, since you brought in the military, let me ask this question.
Yes.
Because if you go to military schools, the standards, they've strived to maintain the standards within the military schools.
Good. You know why? The state governments have destroyed the inspectorate services. There are no more inspectors of schools. That is why Shomole, El Rufai can go to school and start testing teachers. The inspectors were monitors, advisors to teachers in situ, even despite the lack of in-service training. We visit schools on a regular basis.
I mean, we used to have
That has stopped.
Yeah, but you were in the Ministry of Education.
When I was in Ministry of Education, I retired as the Director of Federal Inspectorate Services. Go and check. 1996, we had constant results.
Since then, no inspectorate
they
division
have
anymore.
killed them. They have to cover a number of schools. No petrol, they won't give them money. The cars are, they made them sitting officers in the office and only use them when the principal is accused of fraud to go and investigate. We, through training of inspectors, you are not as an inspector to be part of any inquiry in a school system because teachers trust you. You investigate them. These things were dismissed. So we don't look at how government has really killed the system and turn around to blame the victim, the poor teacher in the field. It's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, processes, curriculum. Now, that's processes. The curriculum, he said schools in the different regions were competing against the other. I mean, each school will be looking probably to say, okay, this is how they teach biology here. Maybe they do theory for 1 hour. But on our own side, we do theory for 45 minutes and use 15 minutes for practicals. Is it possible?
The competition is no. We will have 30 grade 1s as opposed to your 10 grade 1s.
Yeah, so how do we get back to that point? I mean, that's yesterday. How do we get back to that point where it's no longer about what your qualification is, but what you can do?
I think it's a couple of things that we need to do. And just to make a point about when Ms. Alewa talked about schools that doesn't have doors and doesn't have windows. Those ones are schools. They don't have doors. There's a local government in Nigeria in Sokoto State. There's not one school there. A whole local government before this year. A whole local government. Sokoto State has produced the president of Nigeria before. We're not saying one city. School. I'm not saying a village. I'm saying a local government. They got their first school this year. A local government. So when you say the problem is bad because the school doesn't have window, we're talking about a local government.
They have a school.
And this local government gets allocation on a monthly basis.
For education.
In Nigeria, they're getting their first school this year. You can check the records. So let's know how bad the situation is. Jeez. But again, so why Nelson is asking, so what should be done to get us back there? One of the things Mr. Okoro said is the issue about inspectorate departments. And I want to appeal to Chief Mrs. Akode. I think we need to have a formula for allocating money for education. We should separate the money for inspectorate from teaching. I dare say, if the first set of money you get in Oyo State for the trust fund, if you divert it to improving inspection in Oyo State, you will get results that will shock you. Reason, when people know they are being observed, they will sit up.
That's true.
It's okay. I mean, true. Channels is is the best TV stations in Nigeria. Why? People watch you. Yes. And people give feedback. Yes. There are competitions you go to, and you know that if I don't do well this year, I'm going to lose that competition. That's what the inspectorate does. They make it with the same idea. So you can try the experiment. Don't increase the money that goes to school. Increase money that goes to inspections. You'll get a better result. Why is it that football? You remember Nigeria played a match a couple of years back. We had two teams that were supposed to either be relegated or something. And the first match, I think the scores was like 64-0 and 70-something-0 because they needed all the goal match. What happened? The two matches were not beamed on TV. There was no oversight. Immediately, Nigerian Football League went on television. Did you ever hear those kind of scorelines? A football player a couple of days got annoyed and kicked a spectator. Immediately he was given a red card and sent out. Yesterday, his football club, UEFA, banned him till June. Oversight. Yesterday, his club sacked him. Oversight. What has been found all over the world is that educational problems are not financial problems. It's not always more money. It's sometimes the way the money is used and the inspection. So my request is, let's put a certain percentage of it to go into inspection, and let's have each school must publish the results of the inspection on a website yearly.
Okay. Let me...
Madam, I want your reaction. Yes, your reaction to that.
Okay, I want to react to that.
Okay, after you.
Okay, what I want to tell you, on the right path. Before we left the inspectorate service, we argued when Rex Ofure, the first Nigerian principal of King's College, was the chief inspector of education. She tried to get the inspectorate service a semi-autonomy. we had our budget. As soon as he left, they pushed somebody else that finished.
We'll finish up on that.
So
after this break, we need to go on a quick break. We'll finish up on that. Please don't go away.